The deafening crash echoed across the quiet country road as a luxury sports car slammed into an old blue pickup truck carrying a widowed father home after a long morning of work. The young billionaire heiress stepped out in disbelief, staring at the dented truck with frustration, convinced the aging vehicle belonged to an ordinary mechanic who would gladly accept an insurance settlement and disappear. She had no idea the quiet single father standing before her carried a weathered leather journal hidden beneath his seat, the final secret her late father had protected with his life, a secret capable of changing everything she believed about her family forever. Before this unforgettable story begins, if you believe kindness, forgiveness, and second chances can change lives, please like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who believes good hearts always find each other, and subscribe to Kindness Paradise. Your support helps us continue creating emotional stories that remind the world never to judge people by appearances. Rowan Hayes had spent the last 7 years raising his 9-year-old daughter, Ava, after losing his wife to a sudden illness. Every day began before sunrise. He prepared breakfast, packed Ava's lunch, walked her to school, and then drove his old pickup to a modest restoration workshop where he repaired antique furniture and handcrafted wooden pieces. The truck was old enough to attract sympathetic smiles wherever it went, but Rowan refused to replace it because it reminded him of simpler days when his family was still together. Beneath the driver's seat rested an old leather journal wrapped carefully inside a faded cloth, something he protected more carefully than any valuable possession. The young woman driving the luxury sports car was Serena Ashcroft, the only daughter of billionaire industrialist Victor Ashcroft, whose unexpected passing 2 years earlier had placed the enormous Ashcroft Group under her leadership. Intelligent, determined, and respected throughout the business world, Serena had inherited wealth beyond imagination, yet she still carried the loneliness of losing the father she deeply admired. She believed she knew everything about his remarkable life because she had inherited every document, every company record, and every family possession after his death. Standing beside the damaged vehicles beneath the warm afternoon sun, Serena immediately offered Rowan a generous payment for the accident. Rowan accepted her apology politely but refused to exaggerate the damage or demand additional compensation. His calm honesty surprised Serena because she had grown accustomed to people recognizing her name and attempting to profit from it. Before leaving, Rowan noticed a small silver pendant had fallen from Serena's handbag during the collision. The moment he saw its unique engraving, his expression quietly changed. That evening, after Ava had fallen asleep, Rowan carefully opened the old leather journal for the first time in many years. It had belonged to his late mentor, Theodore Brooks, a master craftsman who had once worked closely with Victor Ashcroft during the earliest days of the billionaire's career. Before Theodore passed away, he entrusted Rowan with the journal, explaining that one day the truth inside would need to reach Victor's daughter when the right moment arrived. Rowan had promised to protect it until then, never imagining fate would bring Serena directly into his path. Inside the journal were handwritten letters, sketches, photographs, and personal reflections documenting the difficult years before Victor became wealthy. They revealed acts of extraordinary kindness never mentioned in newspaper articles or corporate biographies. Most importantly, they contained evidence that Victor had secretly established a charitable trust meant to help struggling single-parent families, but the legal documents had disappeared shortly before his death. Without those records, the foundation had never been created. Meanwhile, Serena couldn't stop thinking about the quiet father whose honesty had felt strangely familiar. Unlike the executives and investors surrounding her every day, Rowan had expected nothing from her. His integrity reminded her of stories her father often shared about the value of character over wealth. Curious about the unusual pendant he had noticed, Serena quietly asked her assistant to learn more about the humble craftsman with the old pickup truck. The following morning, bright sunshine filled Rowan's workshop as he carefully restored an antique wooden desk. Nearby, Ava happily completed her school project while watching her father work with endless patience and precision. Rowan glanced once more at the leather journal, wondering whether the time had finally come to fulfill the promise he had made years ago. He had no idea that Serena was already driving toward his workshop, unaware that the greatest inheritance her father had left behind was waiting inside an old pickup truck everyone believed held nothing of value. The next morning, warm sunlight poured through the windows of Rowan Hayes' small woodworking shop as Serena Ashcroft stepped quietly inside. The scent of fresh cedar and polished oak filled the air while Ava happily painted a small wooden birdhouse in the corner. Serena had expected to find an ordinary repair shop, but instead she discovered a place filled with handcrafted furniture, family photographs, and an atmosphere of peace that reminded her of childhood afternoons spent with her father before business had taken over his life. Rowan welcomed Serena with the same calm kindness he had shown after the accident. Without mentioning money or insurance, he carefully placed the old leather journal on the workbench. As Serena slowly turned its worn pages, tears filled her eyes. She recognized her father's handwriting immediately. Every page revealed memories she had never known, stories of hardship, sacrifice, and quiet generosity from the years before he became a billionaire. Hidden between the pages were faded photographs of Victor working beside Theodore Brooks, building furniture to earn enough money to keep his first small company alive. Then Serena discovered the greatest surprise. Folded inside the final section of the journal was a sealed envelope containing the original legal documents establishing the Ashcroft Family Hope Foundation. Victor had secretly planned to dedicate a large portion of his fortune to supporting widowed parents, struggling single mothers and fathers, and children who had lost one parent. Theodore had hidden the documents years earlier after discovering someone inside the company was attempting to destroy them for personal financial gain. Before he passed away, Theodore entrusted Rowan with protecting the journal until Victor's daughter was ready to receive the truth. Overwhelmed with emotion, Serena realized that the charitable foundation her father had dreamed of creating had never disappeared by accident. It had simply been waiting for the right person to uncover it. She immediately contacted the family's legal team, who confirmed the documents were authentic and legally valid. Within days, the forgotten foundation was officially restored, carrying out Victor's final wish exactly as he had written it years before. Instead of offering Rowan a financial reward, Serena asked him to become one of the foundation's founding trustees. She believed the man who had faithfully protected her father's final secret for so many years possessed the honesty and compassion needed to guide its mission. Rowan accepted only after one condition, that every dollar possible should reach families in need instead of being spent on luxury offices or unnecessary publicity. Together they launched programs providing emergency housing, educational scholarships, childcare assistance, and small business grants for single parents determined to build better lives for their children. Thousands of families soon received opportunities that had once seemed impossible. Every successful story reminded Serena that her father's greatest legacy had never been his fortune. It had been his desire to lift others without expecting recognition. Watching the foundation transform lives, Serena often visited Rowan's workshop, where Ava proudly showed children how to paint wooden toys their father crafted by hand. The humble shop became a symbol of hope, proving that extraordinary kindness often begins in the most ordinary places. Serena finally understood why her father had always valued character above wealth. Everything he wanted his legacy to become had been quietly protected by a man driving an old pickup truck. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who believes kindness never dies, leave a heartfelt comment, and subscribe to Kindness Paradise for more emotional stories that inspire hope and compassion. Special request. Please comment. A true legacy is measured by the lives we change. As the golden afternoon sun shined through the workshop windows, Rowan carefully closed the weathered leather journal one final time. His promise had been fulfilled. Victor Ashcroft's last secret no longer belonged to the past, it had become a future filled with hope for thousands of families, proving that the greatest treasures are not hidden in bank vaults, but in promises faithfully kept. A year after the Ashcroft Family Hope Foundation officially opened its doors, its impact could be seen in communities across the country. Single mothers found safe homes after years of uncertainty. Widowed fathers received grants to start small businesses. Thousands of children were given scholarships that allowed them to remain in school instead of giving up on their dreams. Every success story fulfilled the promise Victor Ashcroft had written in the weathered journal so many years before. Although his voice had been silenced, his kindness continued changing lives every single day. Serena Ashcroft no longer measured success by quarterly profits or company growth alone. She spent time visiting the families the foundation supported, listening to their stories and learning about their struggles. Each visit reminded her that the greatest business achievement her father had ever accomplished was not building a billion-dollar company but inspiring hope in people who had almost lost it. Those experiences transformed her leadership, making the Ashcroft Group known not only for innovation but also for compassion and integrity. Rowan Hayes remained exactly the man he had always been. Every morning he still drove his old blue pickup truck to his small workshop, where he restored antique furniture with the same patience and care that had earned everyone's respect. Despite Serena's repeated offers to buy him a newer vehicle or expand his business, Rowan politely declined. The old truck carried memories of his wife, countless mornings with his daughter Ava, and the promise he had faithfully kept for Theodore Brooks. To him, those memories were worth more than anything money could purchase. Inspired by Rowan's humility, Serena established the Brooks Legacy Workshop, named after Theodore Brooks. The center offered free woodworking, restoration, and craftsmanship classes to teenagers, veterans, and single parents seeking new careers. Rowan became its first mentor, teaching not only technical skills but also the importance of honesty, patience, and keeping one's word even when no one is watching. The workshop quickly became one of the Foundation's most successful programs, producing skilled artisans who carried those same values into their own communities. During the Foundation's first anniversary celebration, Serena surprised everyone by unveiling a bronze memorial in the workshop garden. Instead of honoring billionaires or corporate leaders, the memorial featured three simple names: Victor Ashcroft, Theodore Brooks, and Rowan Hayes. Beneath them were words that brought tears to many eyes: "Great fortunes build companies. Great character builds generations." Rowan stood quietly beside Ava, humbled beyond words, never imagining that protecting one old journal would one day inspire so many people. As the celebration ended, Ava slipped her hand into her father's and smiled. She told him that her mother would have been proud of the promise he had kept. Rowan looked across the workshop filled with families laughing together and realized that the greatest reward had never been recognition. It was knowing that one act of faithfulness had given thousands of children the chance to dream without fear. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who believes promises matter, leave a heartfelt comment, and subscribe to Kindness Paradise for more emotional stories that celebrate kindness, family, and hope. Special request. Please comment. One promise can change thousands of lives. As the golden evening sunlight reflected across Rowan's old blue pickup truck parked outside the workshop, Serena watched him drive home with Ava beside him. She smiled, knowing that the most valuable inheritance her father had ever left was never hidden in a bank account or a business empire. It was hidden in the heart of an ordinary man who quietly kept an extraordinary promise until the right moment finally arrived.